So what's up, people? I just gave McDonald's my 2 weeks notice, meaning I'm leaving soon. So guess what, people? Today is Saturday, and today was my last day at McDonald's. So to give you a little background information, McDonald's was my first job, and the reason why I chose McDonald's is because one day I met the district manager, and he was really nice, and then I went in the next day and I talked to my dad yesterday about how I wanted a job, so we were gonna go job searching. And so then my dad started talking to the district manager who he had met the day before, and he was talking about how I was looking for a job, and then he's like, well, here I am. And so he then gave me an application, and then I filled it out and then gave it to them the next day. It took them a few weeks to respond to my application, but then I finally got a date of when they wanted me to come in, and so I went in and then they started training me. The first thing they taught me how to do was take orders at the drive-thru, which I never really did since then, which I was really bad at, by the way. Here's a little photo that I have of me working at the drive-thru. Then they taught me how to use the cash register, and then they taught me how to do the other drive-thru window. And then my career at McDonald's went from there. So let's talk about some of the pros at working at McDonald's. First off, when you're a McDonald's employee, you get 50% off of everything, so that's something that I enjoyed, including free drinks any size you want. Also, when I had my first day of training, they gave me a free meal. The next thing that I like about McDonald's is it's a really flexible job, meaning the hours are very flexible and you can easily choose a schedule that works for you. Like if you go to school 5 days a week, then you can just work on the weekends, meaning you can work on Saturday and Sunday. The other thing that I liked about working on McDonald's is I finally got to make some real money, and I made so much that I bought this. The other good thing about working at McDonald's is you'll learn a lot of skills like using a cash register and dealing with weird customers, which you will use at other jobs, so I was thankful for that. I also enjoy working with the customers when they are pleasant. And so those are the pros I can think of at working at McDonald's. Now let's get to the cons. So the first con that I can think of from working at McDonald's was I wasn't trained very well. For example, one of the workers got upset at me because I was handing out free sauce to the customers when they asked for it, and they're like, they didn't order nuggets, we charge 25 cents per packet. And I'm like, how do you expect me to know if they don't tell me? Another example that I can think of is the frappes are very popular at McDonald's. They're popular because they're like half the price of the frappes at Starbucks, and they use a lot more sugar. So it's a cheaper alternative to Starbucks. They showed me how to make frappes. They just show it to you one time and then they expect you to know it like that and to be able to do it again and again. However, what they don't seem to realize is that cooking anything or making any coffee drink is not something you learn overnight. You need to practice it over and over and over again. But they don't seem to realize that. And so I went up to one of the managers and I told her that I was taught how to make the frappes, but I wasn't completely sure I remembered how to make them. And then when I asked that to her, she got upset at me. And then I'm thinking, really? Do you really expect a 16-year-old boy that's had a job for only like 2 or 3 days, and this is my first job, and they really expect me to remember how to make everything? Like what I said before, they only showed me how to make the frappes one time. Then there was another employee a few weeks later who finally was willing to show me without getting angry how to make a frappe, so then I would make sure I was making them correctly. And even on my last day, I still messed up people's orders. Why? Because they don't make sure that the people working at the cash register know the menu. because I am not McDonald's biggest fan. I just go there every once in a while when I'm really hungry. And then another example about how I wasn't trained very well is they didn't even teach me how to clock in and out until the third day. And I have another example about how I was not trained very well. I remember one day when I was brewing some more coffee because I work the morning shifts, and so the coffee sells out very quickly. And then the district manager asked me, when I was working at the drive-thru, "What are you holding on?" And then I told him I was waiting for some more coffee to brew, and then he said, "It's already finished brewing." I'm like, "It is?" And he's like, "Yes." And I'm like, "Then why is it still dripping? That doesn't make any sense." And then I'm going to go to the next con of working at McDonald's. Maybe this is just because of the location I was at, but I felt like at the location I was at, there were no clear standards of what was expected of the employees. For example, different coworkers and different managers will tell you all these different ways, and you're not sure which one is right of how to do a certain position. So, like, when I was working at the drive-thru window, the second drive-thru window where you hand out the food to the cars, it's like half of the coworkers and managers told me that I was supposed to stay at the window the entire time and just stay in my little area. And then the other half of the coworkers and managers say that I can move away from the little area I was supposed to be in. And then I'm like, which one is it? Make up your minds. Another example that I can think of is at the second drive-thru window, people usually, or sometimes, would want to add something to their order. And then I heard from one person that you should just tell them that we don't take orders at the second window. And then when I told them that, they then got upset and they're like, "Can I speak to a manager?" And then so I got one of the managers, and then when they wanted to add something to their order, they would do it for, like, most of the time they would do it for free. And I'm like, why are you just handing them out free stuff? So they got upset at me for accidentally handing out free sauce and syrup, but they have absolutely no problem giving people free drinks or sandwiches. Why? And so the next con of working at McDonald's that I had was the nasty coworkers. Don't get me wrong, not all the coworkers are nasty, most of them were nice, but I had like 2 or 3 of them that were like nasty, even if you ask them a simple request or question. So the rudest coworker that I had was named, well, actually, I'm not going to say her real name, but we'll just call her Miss B. One time, one of the managers sent Miss B while I was working at the drive-thru to tell me to do the lobby. She just said to do the lobby, and so I asked her, "So does that mean, do I sweep the floor, clean the tables and the chairs?" And then she answered, "Yes!" So that's how rude she was. If I were to tell you all the times she was rude to me, this would be a really long video. She's been rude so many times that I could make a whole video full of all the stories where she's been rude to me. And so then I had my other coworker, whom we will call Mr. B. Mr. B was also very rude. For example, I remember a time when I asked him to get me some stuff when I was working at the drive-thru, like sausage biscuits or frappes or something, and since I was still confused about whether I can or cannot leave the little area I was in, that's why I asked him. And then he's like, "I don't work for you." I forgot exactly what I told him afterwards, but then I continued talking to him, and then he's like, "Well, then just go get it." I then told them that I couldn't get the food because I was supposed to stay at the drive-thru window because, well, half the time people tell me I'm supposed to stay at the drive-thru window and half of the time people tell me I can move to somewhere else. I don't even know how the heck they got hired or are still hired. Which then leads me to my next con, bad management. So originally my first payday was supposed to be Thursday, but I go to a co-op on Thursday, so I wasn't able to go to pick up the paycheck on Thursday, and so I went in a few days later to get the paycheck, and when I asked for it, they said they needed to write it, and so I waited about maybe over 20 minutes for the paycheck, and I asked them, and she's like, I'm a little busy right now. And then I was told to come back in a few days to get the paycheck. And then when I explained to my parents why I didn't get my first paycheck, my dad was looking at my mom like, Jean-Marc's working at McDonald's so unorganized that they don't even write their paychecks for employees in advance. Like I said, I don't even know how some of my coworkers are even hired. I remember one time when a coworker was arguing with a customer was saying like, you have no organization here, and then my coworker shouted something back out, probably cussing something, I think. And then she did it in front of the manager, and she did absolutely nothing about it. You heard me? Nothing. And when I saw that, I was thinking, how can you allow your employees to treat your customers like that? Yes, I know the customers do treat the McDonald's employees many times like dirt. They've treated me like dirt too, but I never swore back or cussed back at the customers. That's the next con of working at McDonald's, but in any area of customer service, you will have rude customers. And so, the rudest customer that I ever had was on my first Saturday when I started working at McDonald's. So I gave this woman her food, and then she's like, this isn't what I ordered blah 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 on it. And so I tried to fix the problem for her by going to the cooks, and then they told me that she didn't pay for that and she needs to pay for it, and that's not what she ordered. And then I went back to the woman and told her that it wasn't what she paid for, and it's not what she ordered. And she's like, no, I ordered a number 5 and she gave me a number 6. And then I looked at the screen, which had all the orders, and I said, I don't see that on my screen. And she's like, well, I did order that, blah, 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 blah. I then had the person at the other window print out her receipt to show that it's what she ordered. And then she was still not convinced. She's like, no, I'm starting right here in the drive-thru until I get my order. And she just refused to leave. Eventually she left, but we almost had to call the police on her. It was that bad. If there was a Guinness World Record for the rudest customer, she would have been the winner. So if I talked about all the examples of the cons at McDonald's, this would probably be like maybe an over 20-minute video. And so right now I still have my uniform because they never asked for it. Right here. Here's the hat I wore that always messed up my hair. And here's my shirt. I'm probably going to return that maybe in a few days. Before I finish this video, I just want to make it clear that I don't hate McDonald's, and my experience was not completely bad working at McDonald's. My experience was probably just because of the location that I worked at. So if you do start working at McDonald's, make sure that it is a good one. So there you have a shorter version of my experience at McDonald's. If you like this video, then like it, and if you want to see more of me, then please subscribe to my channel.